Countdown thing. Oh, we are live right now. Hello, everybody in the chat. I didn't know if it was going to do the countdown or not. I'm still getting used to this. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Today we have experiencer Rob Florio. He's somebody I met through MUFON. I think he's got a pretty incredible story, and a lot of people I think are going to be really inspired by it. Rob, how are you doing today, buddy?
Not too bad. Doing some meditations. Thanks for having me. This is gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, man, dude, we had a great chat the other night, man. I met you through Sev Talk, my MUFON investigator, and she was my first guest on here. I don't know if you got a chance to see that video. And to the people in chat, we got a couple people here in the chat right now. I'm sure some other people are going to come on. I know Sonny from Paranormal Chop Shop, he's going to get on here in a minute. Um, so Rob, you mind doing like a quick, like introductory of yourself, man?
Oh, thanks. Sure. So, Rob, I go by Robert Florio as well. So, my story about UFOs and things starts, a couple of years ago, but goes back to when I was a child, when a guy was visited me in my treehouse. And then, yeah, I was like 7 years old. And then when I was 14, I accidentally dove into a swimming pool, broke my neck, which was devastating, and it was really hard. I go through a lot of pain now, neck pain and things. So I, 2 years ago, a couple UFO, blue and white one, flew over my house when my family was like, you know, visiting. All of them were there, and they all saw it. And so that kind of like inspired me to go out and start learning CE5. And now that I'm learning it, I'm learning a lot and recording some really cool stuff. So I've been studying this phenomenon of CE5 and meditation and healing, and learned so much. But
Yeah, and I've seen some of your videos, man. You see a lot of orbs, like what kind of like what I've experienced, and like with the Bledsoe family. Some of the videos you showed me are really similar. So, how long ago was your spinal injury? You don't mind me asking again?
yeah, it was in '96, so it's 25 years ago.
Well, yeah. For one, man, I gotta say, I'm so I mean, I can't imagine, I mean, you're such a strong person. I just want to say that for struggling with what you deal with on a daily basis. But the fact that these orbs they're reoccurring, it seems like they got their eye on you for a reason, man. I gotta say that for sure. They keep coming back, and is it your family? So they're completely supportive of the whole C5 thing and all that.
And yeah, they are. Some of them might, not take it as serious, but it's funny because when I go out there, my mother, she's like, "Okay, why are they? I want to meet them." Hello.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen some of your videos. They're definitely legit. Those orbs I saw in your video. They're clearly intelligent. It's what did you feel the first time that you experienced one? Or actually, I'm sorry if you don't mind us jumping back the treehouse experience that you were just talking about. Would you mind getting a little bit into that?
Sure, no problem. Okay. So this treehouse guy comes to see me, and I shot like a bow and arrow into the right in front of the treehouse, and I'm like 6, 7 years old. I know you're thinking like, what's a 7 year old doing with a bow and arrow?
No,
Well,
I
I
had one
went
at
out,
that age.
but my
I had one
brothers
at
would
that
never.
age. So
Yeah, my brothers would never let me use it like on my own for some reason, and then I woke up before they did, and I went outside and shot it, and then something said, "Why don't you shoot it at that tree right at in front of the treehouse?" I pulled back, shot, dead shot right in the middle. Walked up, pulled it out, and as soon as I stuck my hand like on the arrowhead, the back of the arrow to pull it out, like these long, weird, green, scaly fingers go poking through the wall, like right in
wow.
front of me, and it was like a carpet wall, like green astroturf that we nailed to the top floor. So it wasn't really like it could like blow in the wind if you wanted to pull it away. but the holes were already there. My brother made them. I guess he stuck his hand in there, pulled it open, and he's standing like right in front of me. I'm looking up at him, and then like I just stared at him in the face like this, 7 year old, and then I just looked down to his feet, and then I looked way back up to his head, and I went, oh, and I went running home, like scared the
Wow.
shit out of me.
So you said scaly. So do you get the feeling this was a reptilian, as people say?
I mean, I've only seen that up close like that once. I'm not sure.
Did you get
It
a good
could
look
be.
at his face?
Yeah, I had these big black eyes and like this
Wow.
frowning like this.
Wow, that's
What
oh
it looked
man,
like, but
and
bigger eyes and water wider apart.
that's funny. And I need to point out because you didn't mention this earlier in your little introductory. You do comedy, right? And you still do that? Is that something you still do?
Yeah, I love to do stand up. I started about 10 years ago, just going to like the
Man,
Baltimore Comedy
that's
Factory.
that's awesome, man.
I
You're
do
an
some
inspiration, man.
artwork
That's
too.
awesome.
I do some artwork
Yeah.
too. It really is like my outlet is the art.
Yeah, and you actually use your mouth to do the painting and stuff, right? Am I correct on that?
Yeah, yeah,
That's,
yeah.
I mean, dude,
Yes,
that's
it's,
so inspiring and motivating to me. I mean, I gotta just say, man, you're a real inspiration. So
I
back
really
then, whenever
appreciate
you
that.
had this, oh, no problem, man. Yeah, I gotta say, me and you, we share a few synchronicities together. I haven't known you very long, but I know, well, for one, um, so I know you know this, Rob, but whenever I had a major experience with the Bledsoe family, I came home that night and I had a hitchhiker come home with me. I'm sure you know what that is. And Rob, if you remember this, I had messaged you, or no, sorry, you messaged me telling me that you had seen an orb. It was the night that I got back from the Bledsoe family. And oddly enough, the moment that my phone dinged was the moment that I saw an orange orb pop up. I mean, like, like dead on. Like as soon as my phone said ding, to the messenger, it's like exact moment an orb popped up where I'm at, and I'm blown away that I've seen this orb, and I look at my phone, and you're telling me that you just saw an orb, and there's that. There's another time that I'm really new into the whole meditation thing, but sorry, you got an animal back there. I love animals. Um, I was very new getting into the whole meditation thing though, and I had actually went into the woods to meditate by myself, just something I was kind of feeling around for. And the moment that I'd gotten into the woods and sat down in this little private spot I'd found, you had video chatted me and you were starting a meditation session with a few people. And we ended up doing the meditation together, through video chat. I don't know if you remember that. It was last year sometime.
Oh, I definitely remember that.
It's pretty bizarre. Crazy
It was
synchronicity.
that was really cool because you and I just met and we did
Yeah,
a meditation together.
right.
So we were like, you and I were kind of entangled at the time because I'm curious if like I can do the CE5 with other people live, like, um, and like how far away we can be. You're
Yeah.
like the second person that I've been able to do that with and get results, which is really inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was when I was like you said, I was very new into it. I mean, I'm still somewhat new into all of this. So, whenever you had that first experience that you're talking about with in the treehouse, um, back then, did you believe in any of this stuff?
I don't know. I was 6, 7 years old. I kind of
What
just
did you, so what did you
I
think it
didn't know
was?
what
Like, what was the thing that went through your head?
it was a monster. Just so
I mean, yeah, yeah, that's probably what I would have thought too.
yeah, I mean,
So, sorry, whenever, is there anything you can say like about the orbs that come right now? Like, do you get what kind of feeling do you get? Can you sense them coming, or what kind of feeling do you get whenever you see them?
it's not so much like can I sense them coming. It's more like they can sense me coming. Because when I meditate, I get to a state where like I'm really mellow and like in my heart center, and I kind of just have this feeling of innocence and just love for life. Sometimes it comes to me when I'm in that state already. If I get there for some reason and I'm outside, I could be like, "Are you there?" And they'll just appear like in the sky, exactly where I'm looking. So
That's
when
how
I
it is
do
for me a
CE,
lot too, man.
yeah, when I do CE5, like I tell them I'm looking right here. Like this is where I'm looking, and that's where they appear. And sometimes they'll appear when like they know I'm looking, so like only a slither of the sky that I can actually see. And I'll have like a really good day and just look up, be like, oh my God, there's one right there. And have the thought, can you like shine something for me? As soon as I think, can you shine, it got real bright and then lit back down. I was like, it was beautiful.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I totally know exactly what you mean. It's whenever they pop up exactly where you're looking, and I've been going a little back and forth on whether they know that I'm looking there or like we can kind of sense them coming. So it's like we're like looking there. It's kind of like in the back of our mind. We already know it's about to be there. I don't know which one it is, or maybe it's a bit of both. um. So I mean, I know you've got some things to do later on today, but this doesn't have to be a super long podcast, but I definitely want to ask you some questions. I'm really glad to have you on here, and everybody that's in the chat right now. Sonny Conway from Paranormal Chop Shop. I think he's gonna be jumping on here in a moment. But when
Cool.
was it exactly that when exactly was it that you opened yourself up to the C5 and the orbs and all this other stuff?
A couple of years, like 2020. The orbs that showed up in the sky, the white and blue ones, were kind of like just kind of like circling each other. It was kind of really, they were like in and out of each other. It was weird. But that was actually on the 24th year anniversary of my accident that they showed up that day.
The actual that day. Wow, wow, that's fascinating, man.
Yeah,
Um,
so it's kind of like a nudge to say, why don't you get involved with this or something?
yeah, and I'm sorry. Maybe next time I have you on, I wanted to get some of your videos and your pictures set up ahead of time so I could share them here. But I mean, we'll definitely get that scheduled for another time. But you have a you're working on like a documentary film about your cases, aren't you?
Yeah, yep. I did a video last year of what I recorded, and now I'm putting together more stuff that I've recorded this year. It's
That's awesome, man.
it's cool because the one thing I'd like to point out about this year's video that's coming out on YouTube channel I think it's just Rob Florio, but is sometimes when I'm out there, like they'll respond to like a laser
Yeah,
pointer, like I'll see them with my eye, like a little red dot, but the phone camera won't pick them up until they light up real big. And they point the light at them, and then they light up. Another thing is, I would see these recordings of them going across the sky, and then they blink a little bit, like this, like orange and white. But they haven't come close enough until like the end of the season last year when I recorded this like giant fireball that just floated over the house. And I could see how it was pulsating. It just looks like a
um,
flaming ball. It's crazy.
yeah. And have you seen them actually like materialize from nothing into something before?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
send me
cool
that.
because yeah, in the video like, that I'm studying some of the things you can ask them to do. You can be very specific on what you want them to show you,
Oh
like
yeah.
things like smiley faces and V shapes, and like
Really?
you can be like, can you show up in a V form or like as a shooting star or a smiley face? Last year's video, when I zoomed all the way in on one of the objects, it looked like a smiley face. It had two little
Wow.
eyes and a mouth.
Wow. Wow, that's fascinating, man. Yeah,
It's
I
yeah,
I'd
it's
like you to send me
crazy.
a video. How many
It's amazing.
have you lost count, like of how many sightings and videos and stuff you have now?
Yeah, it's too many to count. Because
That's
one
awesome.
tip that I give in the video coming out is I've searched and searched for like a good night vision camera, and you got to go out a little bit in expense wise to get something like the Psionics Sport. That's like a colored night vision camera, and I have a video of like how I set everything up to my wheelchair as well, which is really cool because it's a special mount and a tray and Velcroed everything, the iPad, my cell phone, and then I have my cell phone recording at the same time and my iPad open with like a flight radar app open. So I'll take
Yeah,
like screenshots of flight radars when they come over to confirm that it's not an airplane. And then
yeah.
it's a little tricky though because I use voice command on my phone to say like click this and click that, and it's it's like my own little like science lab of but that psionics started picking up a lot more thing than I thought I was seeing in the sky. Like I would see something, and then this thing, man, and like an 8 or 10 minute span, when they come around, like you can see like 14 of them, 12, 14. It's really
Wow.
cool.
Yeah, so you're being very cautious to make sure that what you're seeing is the phenomenon, not like or I mean not a craft.
Yeah,
I mean
yeah.
commercial airlines stuff.
I would say 90% of the time, maybe 85%, it's it's unidentified because when I open up flight radar app um,
Okay.
and the satellite radar app, it's not. There's nothing there. Like it's great. It's really cool.
That's good, so you can put people's doubt out. Hi Kelly, hi everybody that's in the chat. Hey Rob, you actually have a question from the chat right now from Eddie Haskell. Said Josh, where is Rob located? Um, no, I don't believe we actually said that. What state are you located in again?
Maryland. I'm in Maryland.
Maryland. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like south of
Um,
Baltimore, the Glen Burnie area.
okay, yeah. Man,
Thanks for the
I
question.
wanted to. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you. So you're really into like meditation. I know you're a fan of Joe Dispenza, who I'm a huge fan of as well. It's something that we share in common. How long did it take you to get into your meditation, or I guess where you're able to get it down? Where you can actually get into that zone, to the flow, as they say. And have you had any, intense experiences of meditation, like while meditating?
Let's say the most intense experience I had was recently. Um, when I'm meditating, it can take like a few minutes at least. So really depends. Sometimes, if I'm really inspired. Usually during the day, I'm like, I don't want to be in pain in my neck, and I want to feel my body. I want to move my body again. So I try to stay in like an uplifted, higher emotion state. Sometimes I catch and then I'm constantly have to catch myself. I love that feeling when you're like, when I love the feeling that wholeness feeling.
Right.
That's I'm trying to learn about how just Benza teaches healing, and it's kind of like when you get out of the way, your body knows how to heal itself, and I feel it, and I'll feel my neck just like stretching and popping, and ooh, there it goes. It's very clicky poppy.
Yeah, I heard that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very clicky poppy.
Yeah.
Thank
Anybody in the chat? So I was going to recommend anybody who's interested in meditation or like the law of attraction or just all types of metaphysical, not so much UFO and paranormal, but definitely metaphysical. Joe Dispenza, he's great. I've read a few of his books, You Are the Placebo, a couple other ones I can't name right now off the top of my head. But yeah, that's a I mean that's a shared interest that we have is Joe Dispenza. He's actually I gotten him like 10 years ago before I even way before I believed in any of this. UFO, ET stuff.
Yeah, I just discovered him uh, last year, so some really good stuff. I was watching one of his last videos, and he said the hardest part about doing it is making the time to do it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think we can all make a time to do, even if we start out really small, I mean, I have ADD. It's really hard for me to meditate. That's something I'm just now getting into. But it's definitely got its benefits, and yeah, finding your inner self. You're an inspiration, Rob. See with your heart, not your eyes. That is yeah, Eddie Haskell, thank you, Rob. He was just saying something that I was thinking myself, man. You're an inspiration. I mean, I deal with physical pain myself, man, but not on your level, and I think you're a real inspiration, man. So Rob, you mentioned
Appreciate
me
that.
in private chat. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you, Eddie Haskell. Rob, you mentioned me privately once about a dream that you had. You don't have to share this if you don't want to, but the dream you had where you said that I don't know if you're on an astral plane type thing, what this was, but you were laying on a table and saw some. Are you familiar? I mean, are you comfortable with sharing this experience?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it was about a month ago or so. A few months ago, I was in a deep sleep, and usually it comes around like 6 a.m. I don't know why. Maybe it's just that hour. Um, and I was in like a dark room, laying flat on a table. I could see a guy laying on another table to my left, and he was like just laying back like that. And there's like three or four of these grays, and they had the big eyes and the classic gray look, leaning over me, reaching their hands like toward me. And I saw it, and I just started cracking up laughing
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
because I became self-aware of it. I was like, finally, they're coming to get. I'm with them. Oh, I'm with you. This is just. Do you all realize how freaking scary this shit is? But I don't care. I'm here. I'm with you. Let's do this. I was cracking up laughing. I was like,
Oh man, that's awesome. I love your
it
sense of
just
humor,
felt
man.
so good to just let go and just be with them. But however, they're weirdos, dude. They are. They don't realize like little things, just naked creatures reaching for you, like weird.
Oh man, that's funny, man. I love your sense of humor. So were you scared? Were you scared at all, or do you think it was like kind of scared
No,
laughter? Like,
no. It was like a joyous, like laughter. I knew that this to anyone else, I was thinking would be scary as hell. But to me, I was just like so over it. I was just done with it. I'm like, I'm here. Let's do this. And then I woke up. I was like, shit. I thought I was really there. I was like, I woke up and I was like, all right, just heal me. You didn't. What are you playing around with me for? Like, let's do this.
well,
Ooh,
now,
there's
Rob,
another
do you
one.
believe that you really were there, like in a astral plane uh type thing? And we actually have a guest right now, Spooky Morales, a good friend of mine.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Okay, he's on. Spooky. Hey, man, great to have you. This is Rob Florio. Rob, this is Spooky Morales. Spooky, your name is Chris, right? I
Yeah.
feel so bad that I'm asking that. Yeah. Rob, this is Chris Spooky Morales. Um,
What's up?
uh,
What's up, man? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's good to
Spooky,
meet you too.
Spooky. I met Rob through MUFON, actually through Seb Talk, our first guest that we had on the channel last week, and he is a reoccurring experiencer. I mean, yeah, he's got lots of videos of orbs, and he was just sharing an experience that he had in a dream state with the Greys. He said he woke up on a table and he said you went into kind of a laughter, Rob. it's
Yeah.
it's yeah. So sorry, back on the and sorry, Rob had suffered a spinal injury whenever he was young. He's um he's an inspiration and a motivation. He's not only an experiencer, he does comedy, he does art. Um, I mean, I still once again I can't put enough emphasis on how much of an inspiration you are, Rob. And that's why I really wanted to get you here on this channel. But he also had an experience with a some type of being whenever he was a child with in his treehouse, man. And that's something I kind of like to get back onto that a little bit, man, because that's so fascinating. You said that that being had scales. Is there like a can you describe that a little bit more, Rob, or is that like something that you it's a little bit blurry to you?
It's not too blurry. It's he was naked. I couldn't see like the shape of his hands or feet. Just I stared at him from head to toe, then toe to head, like I scanned him. So he's in there. He's in here somewhere.
So now,
But
dude, this being like, I'm sorry to cut you off. Did it come out the wall? I'm trying to picture this a little bit
no,
better.
the wall of my treehouse was made of like this green astroturf, and it was kind of
Okay.
semi-dry rotten. So it already had like holes in it. He stuck his fingers through those, pulled it open, and I saw the fingers coming through
Wow.
the like I pulled out the arrow out of the tree as a 7-year-old, staring at my treehouse, and these fingers come out like right away. I was like,
Yeah, that's a shock. Yeah.
like
And
that,
so it's tall. And so this
you
thing was a
know.
good bit taller than you.
Yeah, it was taller than me. He wasn't super tall. I would say he's around 5 foot maybe. And yeah, he had these big black eyes and this like frowning face. Didn't make a sound. Just kind of stood
Yeah,
there.
that's good.
And the coolest thing about that, not just that, but we went back later that day with my best friend and my two brothers, older brothers, and I had a bat in my hand. I was like, I don't know what's gonna be there. So we went into the treehouse and pulled like the curtain open more. And I looked down on the ground, and right where he was standing was this like perfect egg-shaped dirt mound that was carved into the ground. Like someone had taken all the dirt that was on the floor, piled it up, and like as if you took like a pan, like a mold, and just filled it with dirt and just put it down. It was that perfectly smooth, and it was maybe about a foot and a half long, about a foot wide, and then in the middle was like this elongated peanut shaped like footprint, and it was like pushed in like a symbol, like perfectly carved.
Right.
I didn't think to take a picture of it. I went actually in the house to grab a camera, and something told me let go of it when I went to bring it out. Um,
I'm sorry, Rob. What
and
was this symbol on? I missed that part.
what?
The symbol that you're speaking of. Where exactly did you see this symbol?
It was like a dirt mound that was like pushed into the ground, like it was left
Okay.
behind for me to see.
Right. And Seb Talk actually brought you up here recently in a private chat and mentioned symbol having some kind of correlation with something else. I remember if it was Peru or something like
Oh,
that.
that's
Or
really
maybe
interesting. Yeah, because we're talking like 30 years later. Like, what's this mystery connection? And I was watching, some documentary called Alien Mummies of Peru, and they dug up these. There's like three or four of them, and a couple of them are like real tiny. And there's one that looks like exactly like the one I saw with the fingers and the face, and the taller one was one of them. And what freaked me out also was on the smaller mummy, the little looked like a little gray, really. His chest, there was like this like little like metal implant that looked like that shape of that stretched out peanut shape. It's in my book, which is called Life It Must Be a Comedy. You can get it on Amazon or robertflorio.com, and I go into all this whole story. It's it's a chapter in there about like my accident and before and after. But
that's awesome.
yeah, and so I'm on a quest now to find out what the connection is from for me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've got to be showing themselves to you repeatedly like this for a reason. Um,
Yeah.
jump back a little bit to the dream that you had, where you started cracking up, laughing, and I apologize to anybody in the chat. I'm new to this. I was trying to change the layout of how we're posted up here, but I'm still figuring things out. But that dream that you had, where you started laughing, I remember you telling me privately once that you said there was somebody else on the table next to you, right? You might get into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't know who it was. It just looked like a guy laying there, laying flat, looking up. Really, I mean, I don't
Okay.
know. Well, I didn't really get to see much detail. I mean, it was kind of like I think I was presently aware of when I was viewing and recording in my mind. It was maybe like 10 seconds, 5 seconds.
So you definitely do believe that this is like a astral projection type dream experience that you had.
I've had astral projections where I literally came out of my body.
Oh, really? Well, get into
But
that,
this
man,
was
because
not
I
like
mean,
that. This was not like
okay.
that. It was more like a dream, more of like a vivid dream, or like a lucid dream.
Do you still feel like there was some reality to it?
Yeah, because like I became aware in it. That's why I started laughing.
Yeah. Um, oh, Spooky, you got any questions? I know you just jumped on here. You missed a little bit, but you got any questions for Rob, then? Or anybody in the chat? What's up, Paranormal Chop Shop? Uh, oh, hey, Sonny, I didn't know you were backstage, man. If you want to jump in, you can. So I must have missed that. Spooky, you got any questions for Rob? I was going to ask him about the astral projection, but want to make sure you don't have any questions first, or anybody in the chat.
Yeah.
Spooky, you able to hear me? Might be having some difficulties
Oh,
here.
no, brother. It was
Oh,
my mic was on mute. Sorry about that.
okay. I was just asking if you have any questions for Rob. I was going to ask him about the astral projection stuff, and Sonny, if you want to jump in, you still can, man.
Uh,
I
just
don't
because
think I
I
started
just
that stage.
just because I got in late, I was a little bit curious. I'm sure you already talked about it, but this experience that we were just talking about, how old was Rob? How old were you when that happened?
You mean in my treehouse?
Yeah.
About 6 or 7 years old.
Okay. Yeah, that's about the same time for me. I was 7 years old.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's very interesting. And then when you saw the beings that you did when you were 6 or 7 years old, do you remember if you and I'm sorry, I probably missed you telling the story here, but d- uh, did the beings tell you in any way that they were there to guide you or to help you along the way or
I didn't get any telepathic or verbal, not that I have any memories of. I
okay.
haven't done any regressions, which I'd really like to do. The only
Oh
thing
yeah.
that was there was when I went back and saw the impression that was left on the ground, the symbol.
And what do you think now that you've had years to think about that? What was that symbol? Do you think it was symbolic of, or what was it?
It's really weird. I don't know. I've never seen anything like that, even since like I've only seen maybe on Ancient Aliens something in like on like a rock wall that might have been like carved. It looks similar to it, but the big connection is in Peru. Those mummies they dug up. That there's some huge connection with that because
Hmm.
even now, like if I when I have moments and I invite them to like show up, when they show up, they look like that mummy that they dug up, the white one, that like 4 or 5 foot tall one.
Hmm.
Um, and when they show up too, sometimes they're in like this egg shaped like ship, and they just appear out when I'm in my dream state. If I see them,
Hmm.
like it's just like this egg shape, and it's there, and then all of a sudden they're like it's dissolving around them, and then they just float. They don't even walk; they just kind of float. It's
Yeah, I've
cool.
heard other people say the same thing. So, Rob, what what do you think is what do you think they're trying to accomplish as far as the life forms, the ETs, or whatever you want to call them,
Well, it's kind of hard.
or 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 maybe even
Um,
say with you personally, or with everybody in general, or just or what do you
Most
hope
of
for
what I
them
can
for?
say about that is there's a connection between our consciousness, and the only way to find that answer is to go out and meditate and try to communicate with them and learn like how to tune yourself in your heart and in your head and noticing when they come around, like what state you were in, and when they come around more often, what state you were in or less often, or like you almost become like a scientist in yourself. And then when you get really good at
Wow.
that, you can choose to see them whenever you want. Like it's just they're there whenever you feel good. Like I almost feel like they're a taxi service, like they're always there. We just don't know how to communicate with them as well. It's kind of,
It's beautiful. I love that.
I
yeah,
love
it's
what you
cool.
said there, man. A scientist within yourself, man. That's such a
Yeah,
great
it's
way of
fun. It's
putting that.
fun.
You're right. It makes you just like look at yourself in ways, not just yourself, but yourself and your place within humanity. It makes you look at yourself in a way that you never did before. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love the way you worded that, man. I might have to borrow that, Rob. That's yeah, I
you
love it.
know, I really appreciate that. Though sometimes it can be discouraging a little bit, but sometimes having like a spinal cord injury gets a little uh, life gets a little like crazy, and um, it's good to have this like to focus back on. I know I
Yeah,
do the
man.
artwork, and I have
Yeah.
a supporting family. It's really great to have.
Oh, it's good, man. Awesome.
And
But
Spooky,
yeah,
Rob actually does comedy and he does art. And he uses his mouth to hold a paintbrush and does awesome art. I mean, you're an inspiration, Rob. I know I've said that a few times already now. I don't mean to, keep throwing it out there, but you really are, man. That's why I'm really
appreciate it.
grateful to have you here
I
on this
agree.
channel, man. I feel like people need
100%.
to hear your story. Yeah, definitely, Spooky. And I mean, they're showing themselves to you for a reason. Spooky, I've seen some of Rob's videos. I'll post a link later on down. I wanted to get some of your videos and pictures prepared, before this, but I'm glad to have you on here. But the fact that they keep coming back to you, and Spooky, he's even some of his family, is supportive. I've seen some of your videos where I could hear your family in the background, Rob, and they're
Oh, wow.
getting excited there with you, while some of these old are coming up on video. And
Yeah,
a lot
it's
of
fun.
videos of the orbs, yeah, sorry. I was just gonna say a lot of those orbs are similar to the ones I've seen in the Bledsoe's videos. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're showing themselves to you for a reason, Rob.
It's 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 another level. It's kind of like uh, I really wish I could just sit down with them and just talk and record them, and well, that's what I'm basically am doing. You know what I mean? On a human level, it's just we want things explained to us and shown to us, and the way that they do it sometimes is exactly the way you want, but you don't realize it. Like for example, I'll keep in my mind like I want you to show up in a way that's not going to threaten me. And if I pick that thought, like say like a glowing being or some kind of blue color, and like say if we're to appear in my room, like what would I tell it like what I'm prepared for it to look like to me. Um, Somehow they tap into that and they know that even years later. You could just think it once or twice and then they'll be there and you're like, that's what? How did you know that? Like that's so keep that in mind. I think they're you can be exact, very precise what you want them to do. And then they do it and they do it in such like a perfect way. It's like how you would like do something and think you screwed it up. They're like they just do it and you're like, oh, that's really
Pieces
cool.
fit together, right? It's like
But
everything lines up.
I personally think they're just waiting for people to just. I don't think they care about much of what we got going on too much, or they don't want to get involved. But I think if we can take the time to learn to communicate with them, they're there. It's a lot easier than people realize.
Right. So yeah, I totally agree, man. I totally agree about them um maybe waiting for us to get, I guess, a little more aware or maybe more in tune with our spiritual nature. Some people don't want to say spiritual. It's energy. Everything is energy, and energy is consciousness, in my opinion. Um, so you mentioned something earlier about wanting to sit down and talk to them, Rob. I just want to ask because this thought keeps going through my head. Let's just say you were to be able to sit down right now and actually speak or telepathically communicate. Like, what would you ask them? That's not too personal of a question.
Yeah, that I mean, well, my biggest question is like, can you share your healing abilities?
Yeah, yeah,
I would ask them to look into my heart and into my head and find me worthy and of a gift, and they would know I would use it for goodness. And I think that would be beautiful.
most
That would
definitely,
be
man.
that would be like so. I mean, sometimes I think about like I try to go into like the Joe Dispenza state of meditation, where he's like, imagine what it would feel like for something in the future to happen right now. So I go back into when I was a kid and I was standing in front of one of them, like what that feeling is, and just keep rehearsing that. Because when they show up in your dreams, sometimes it can be startling, but when you're preparing yourself for it, you'll catch yourself and being like, oh, this is this, and you can stay in it longer.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man, and I mean there are stories of healings. I know I spoke to you a little bit about the Bledsoe family. I know them personally. He was healed of his Crohn's disease. Preston Dennett was on here last week. He spoke about people being healed. Um, yes, I mean, really, I'm kind of open to, for one, I never thought I would believe in any of this stuff like a year or two ago, and now, I'm experiencing it. We've all had experiences, up here on this panel. It's There's a reality to it. Even if we don't know all the answers to it, there's, we're not alone. Whether people doubt it or not, it's a reality. Spooky, I think you had experiences with orbs as well, right?
Whenever
Or
I
at least,
hear whenever I hear people telling stories like Rob, I mean, especially when he goes back to when he was a child, it just, I mean, the memories just flood my head. It's almost like it just happened yesterday, man. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, for me, I've seen orbs, my whole life. I don't, whether we defined them and called them as orbs, I don't think I ever really started calling them that until probably around the Chris Bledsoe era. Um, for me it was just always lights and spirit. Don't ever be ashamed of saying the word spirit, because
yeah,
that's what I believe. That's what we're dealing with here. We're all
oh yeah,
spiritual
definitely.
beings, whether we want to embrace that or not. We're spirits ourselves, and we need to get more spiritual if we want to get back to being able to be in line with this, in tune with this, what we're dealing with. And Rob, what you were saying there about meditation, it's one of the things that I always, sometimes a little bit too much, I feel like I'm pushing it and forcing it on people, and sometimes they
Oh
maybe
no,
get a little
never
bit
too much.
tired of hearing it. But
No.
I agree completely with you, man. And since I struggle with trying to get people to embrace that, I was wondering, Rob, if there's one thing about uh, meditation and tuning into beings of other that we can't that most people can't see, what would you like people to know about meditation?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me think for a
Yeah,
second.
great question.
Uh, about meditation. Um, smoke some weed.
Well,
Oh
that's a
man,
given.
Rob, I like you more and more every time I talk to you, man.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see why you do
And just let
why you do
go. And
comedy.
just let go.
when you
Don't be
when you say
afraid. Don't be
when you say
afraid to
let
take
go,
yourself.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Let
So
go. Yeah.
that's
Go
amazing,
ahead.
So
man,
you
that
like
you
surrender? Is that what you're saying, Rob?
Yes. Yeah. And fill your heart with like this sense of innocence and awe. Like
because
this.
the thing that's holding us back, and most people back, is the number one thing that crushes all of progress and positivity, and it's fear. People are very afraid of what's out there. They know they want to see something. They know they want to experience. They want to communicate, but it's the fear that's holding us back.
Yeah.
So what I go ahead.
What kind of fear are you talking about? Like fear of extraterrestrials?
The unknown, really.
Well, I know that. Well, yeah. My first answer is that the unknown is the only place you find your answers. Only from studying what Dr. Joe talked about. Like,
I love that answer, man.
yeah, and that's where everything comes up for me the strongest. Like all my fears and pain from surgery. Like my neck hurts, and once you face that, like there's an energy you have to come above that fear to get over it. But weren't you talking about like 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 meditation is how do I say this? When I'm doing it, like they pop up when you connect with them. It's like you know when you get to that sweet spot of your meditation.
Yes.
Where you're like you're gone. You're like you're connected and you're also disconnected at the same time. You'll know when you get there, and as soon as you just let go and feel it, and it just rushes in you, they appear. It's like, holy crap, this works.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I struggle with trying to give people the reason why and what they can get out of it. First of all, out of meditation, what you get from it is you get a sense of peace within yourself, which a lot of us don't have, even though we might be fooling ourselves that we do. We're totally bombarded with all this outside noise, whether it be news or whether it be your job or your family. There's all this noise. And once you center yourself and when we're in our deepest part of meditation, we are living only not in the past, not in the future, but what we want to try to do is bring ourselves right to the only living in the present time, at the present moment. And when you can do that, then your mind will be at peace to be able to go other places. If that makes any sense.
Aware of being aware.
Yes.
Right?
When I do this, I try to get really comfortable, like get warm and lay down and light a fire, smoke weed, like go there, take yourself to that higher level, And it's one thing now that like a couple of years I've been like recording them in the sky and they're coming lower and lower is my girlfriend came to visit me. Like this was like October 22nd, and it's going to be in my film, and it's a documentary I'm putting together. And I noticed that when she was there, like it was a different feeling. This was like a love inside of me that like I haven't had that energy in a long time. So like we were outside and I was like meditating for like just a few minutes for them to show up. As soon as I finished the meditation, this orange ball right where I'm looking just comes floating over the house, and she recorded it for me. And it was like a flaming disc. It was crazy, just like a flaming ball. Like what does that? Like that's just so. But it finally came low enough to see it, like and record it, because it goes by but real high. And when I record it, it just looks like this flaming little flickering ball. But this time I got really close to it, so I'm starting to connect. This year, I'm gonna start inviting them like to my direct vicinity, like right next to me. It's really like when they're with you, uh, it can be startling, but when they show up, it's kind of like, oh my God, so beautiful.
It is.
Like, you have to let go of that fear. You have to let go of fear of.
That's right.
Because they can sense like that. I think they sense like what state you're in, and they know like how close to come.
That's right.
Cool.
And that's why I think a lot of people that they hear about the CE5 and it's become like a really trendy thing to do, but I don't think that a lot of people that go in and a lot of times people are getting disappointed with CE5 that they're not getting the results that they hear about. But a lot of it, a lot of the times, I think the reason they are being disappointed is because they're not going into it with the right mindset. You know, they're
Right. It's
thinking
all
I'm going to
about the
go out
frequency.
there and I'm going to get my videos up on TikTok, and they're thinking about it
Yeah.
the wrong way. This is not what the beings that I'm familiar with, that what they're out there they're looking for. It's not. As a matter of fact, I don't even record video myself because I really don't have the time, because I'm too busy deep in meditation. And
Yeah.
I've also been given the feelings that this is not really something that I really want to do, is be recording my spiritual experiences. I don't know if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
well, yeah, looking for personal gain out of it. You're exactly right. And I don't. Sometimes I feel like I bring up the Bledsoe family too much, but they are a big part of my story. But even Chris told me himself, one bad apple can spoil the bunch. How he's had people,
Hmm.
literally go and camp out on his property without him knowing, and they won't experience anything, and they think he's a fraud or something. But people go there and they're looking to get some kind of self gain, like you said, wanting to put videos up on TikTok and stuff like that, and that's really
Yeah.
not the way that it
That,
works.
yeah,
I truly believe. Sorry, go ahead, Rob.
you have to practice it and get good at it, and it becomes something that you tune yourself to. So just
Yeah,
going out there one time and getting disappointed is like you haven't prepared yourself, like
yeah,
because
yeah,
that's happened to me.
yeah,
I
definitely. I don't know where
sometimes if
Sonny's
it's
at
like a
right now.
cloud.
Sorry about
Uh,
that.
oh, no problem. If sometimes if it's like a cloudy day outside and cold and I'm uncomfortable, I'm not connected and they don't show up, and then I'm like, okay, now I know. Cloudy days, I'm blocking myself really, and like
Mm.
doubting that they can. And I start making fun of them. I'm like, I started thinking, like, you can fly thousands of light years across galaxies to get here, but flying under clouds, you haven't mastered that. Like, what the hell? Come on. And,
Um,
and then I
oh, you
realized
talking
it's
about
like
as far
it's
as the orbs?
yeah,
The
like
Rob, Rob,
yeah,
I just want to put out there. I've seen a couple orbs under clouds now, so
yeah.
yeah, they can definitely. I think you can't,
It's my
tell
block.
them how. Yeah, well, I mean, I just learned not to question how they do what they do. Just like Spooky was saying earlier, I never see the orbs. I'm not like Chris Bledsoe, who he does see five, but he doesn't meditate or anything. He just, I guess, he's so in tune with it, so he
I
goes out
actually,
there and he just senses them coming. But with me, I was
yeah.
gonna say real quick, Rob, that when I feel like I'm expecting to see them, I rarely if ever actually see them. They usually come completely unexpected for me as far as the orbs.
I guess
But
that I
go
should
ahead,
be.
Rob.
I guess I should be really thankful then because I've had moments where I'd be in my house and I just deep inside just got to the point where I'm like, okay, I know they're there. I can't deny it. So, and it's like it's this resonance you get, and then open the door and look and ask, and boom, there they're there. It's so cool to have that happen. Um, it's it happens when you connect with them like somehow
Yeah,
they just know. It's really crazy.
yeah, I totally
Yeah.
believe that. It has a lot to do with the frequencies, man. Um, Rob, yeah. Spooky sometime. And for everybody who's in the chat and everybody who's listening to this, I'm gonna post some links. I'm gonna get up with Rob after we're done with this, and maybe get some of his videos together so people can see them. Um, he
I've got a
they
couple tips too.
sorry, what was that?
I said I can give a couple tips if they really do want to capture these things.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob. Yeah, this is all about you right now, buddy. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Um, Even if you have a cell phone, set it on a tripod and just keep it on record if you know you're gonna take the time to do this. Because if you're waiting for them to show up to record them, like sometimes they just appear when you connect, and you'll be like, "Damn, I saw that, but I didn't hit record." Or sometimes I'll go on like Facebook Live and just like be out there at night, and anyone will just see me, and I'll be like, "Oh my God, here they come!" And people can see them flying across the sky. It's really cool to be able to get to that like level. have fun with it. It's I want to get some people together in the area, and more people that I get, like it really makes a stronger connection. You start seeing more and more cool stuff.
Yeah, totally. Um, Spooky, did you want to ask Rob something? Because I had a question for him. And Rob, I do apologize. I'm not going to be able to go super long day, so I'm gonna have to get off here sometime
Yeah, yeah.
shortly. And I know you got some stuff to do too. But Spooky, do you have any question or anybody in the chat? And I thank you again for everybody in the chat. I know this was sudden and spur of the moment. I think everybody here that's listening.
I was just going to say
Anybody
that
have any
I
questions?
after spending a couple minutes with you guys and Rob, I realize now that I recognize Rob and I follow him on I
Oh,
don't know if
really?
it's Instagram or Twitter. Oh yeah, I was already familiar with him.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Look at there, Rob.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely,
Yeah,
man.
I met Rob through Sev Talk actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's like I said, like probably 10 times already, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass, Rob, but you're an inspiration, man. I think you should be proud of
Yeah,
that, man. Really. So you got
absolutely,
people
man.
coming on here that know you. So Rob, I know we're gonna
Also,
have to.
Thank,
Sorry, go ahead, Squeaky.
I was just gonna say, also, I know that it it takes it's not easy to talk about some of this stuff when you know that you're going to be opening yourself up for everybody's opinions and possible ridicule, but it takes a lot of bravery to do this. So we really appreciate it, Rob.
yeah, I
Yeah,
appreciate that. Sometimes my filter is off and I forget about that.
there's no problem with that. Sometimes people need to take their filter off. Sometimes not so much, but yeah. um, yeah, and Vera Ray down here, Rob, you are so awesome and inspiring. Thank you, Vera Ray. Um,
That's a
super,
great
super.
opportunity. I think um, it's inspiring for me, and I know it says Rob, but my website is robertflorio.com, and
That's right.
I'm posting a new documentary this year of my footage from last year.
Yeah, when is that coming out, by the way?
I want it out by March. That should be my goal.
Okay, awesome, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I
and
definitely want to get you back here on the channel sometime too.
that'd be cool. There's, I want to ask anyone that's listening right now if you have any connections or could help me connect to the researchers, the archaeologists down in Peru who found those alien mummies. Because I've emailed them and I haven't gotten any replies. I contacted the Maryland Archaeology Trust, but they said reach out to like a greater university with Peruvian experts.
Hmm.
Because to leave an artifact like that for me to see, that's it's screaming at me. Look at this, like figure this out, you know. And then 30 years later, for it to be on the chest plate of one of these beings, like that's cool. And this will probably stir up some dreams in me, like or some experiences tonight. Usually, when I get this excited, cool things happen. So I'll remember what happens tonight.
Hey, Rob, Lynn LeBlanc, I don't know how to say that. Said, is Rob single? He's hot, LOL. And sorry, but Rob is not single. He recently got a girlfriend. I think I started speaking to you about the time y'all two started dating too, Rob. I'm glad
Yeah,
y'all
I
two
don't
are
know.
still
I
doing
don't know
good
how to answer
together.
that question. I get in trouble anytime. That
Oh
question.
man. Thanks, Lynn. Rob does have a girlfriend right now, though. I know that for a fact. Glad y'all are
Yeah.
doing good too, Rob. Yeah, it's great to hear.
Yes.
Um, so Rob, had a couple questions I want to ask before we get off. I'm sorry we have to cut this short, but I do have to run somewhere down the road here in a minute. Um, okay, so I've asked a few different guests that we've had here lately. Um, you know about the blush over that last comment on you, Rob.
Yes. Totally. Where'd that come
Oh man.
from?
Oh no, we got some cool
Don't
people in
make
the
my
chat,
head
man.
any bigger than it already is. Giving me a
Yeah.
big head. Not pun intended.
Oh. Yeah, Rob is a comedian, everybody. If you haven't heard it already, he's got a hilarious sense of humor. I love it. Um. So uh, Rob, what are your thoughts on the paranormal and the supernatural and UFO extraterrestrial? Like, do you think there's a connection? Do you think consciousness is what connects all of this? Because that's my personal belief. You don't have to, I want to hear everybody's opinion on this. So I've been asking people this here lately.
Well, after living as a quad, which sounds crazy, but I've been really trying to get past the emotions of it so I could heal. Um, I think the more that I'm just aware of myself and things going around me, like I just be conscious of the being you are, because it's kind of like I'm learning this like spark that's there, that that divine spark we all are and have, we can reconnect to and wake up. Like there's, how do you explain it? Like cool things start happening when you are really tapped into it. I feel, not that we're in the matrix in a sort of a way, kind of, because I've been out of my body, and I've, because of the neck pain a few years ago. Um, that was just, seeing people walking around my room and appearing to me when I go to church groups that pray over me. Like there was one guy that was like standing at the foot of my bed, and he said, "When you reveal yourself to me, I will reveal my teachings." And I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? Who talks like that? Like that doesn't even make any sense. Like, so I've been struggling with what that means, and like these things will come to you and they'll say things, and you're like, ah, you're here, but why don't you just heal me? You're here, just do something. Like it's like there's something weird going on, that it's kind of like when you do finally come out of your body and look around, you're like, you just start laughing, like, what? I hope when I get there, it's gonna be like, I'm never doing that shit again. That was hard. But I did my best. But when you get there, it's kind of like you just kind of get this airy feeling, and it's like everything, the purpose of life and is love, and you just kind of like, when you come
Humble.
back, it's kind of like, holy crap, there's way more going on than what we realize. So yeah,
Totally.
it's
Yeah.
it's
That's
real.
a very good message for Martin Luther King Day, man. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Love
Great.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
And,
I didn't
Rob.
even realize.
Yeah,
Yep.
I forgot earlier too for a moment. Hey, Rob, we got a comment down here from Second Star Survival, and I believe I just spoke to him on Chad Smith podcast the other day. I think that he was on there the other day. Spook, is that who we were on with the other day? I don't remember if you were on there with us or
Yeah,
not.
second star. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he said down here, Rob, I may be able to help you, Rob. I still have ties in the archaeology community. Yeah, and I spoke with him on Chad Smith podcast, and he has some experience in archaeology. So I mean, there you go. He might be able to help you find out more about that symbol. And
Wow.
Deb talks,
Yeah,
who we
see,
both know personally, she spoke about it last week as well, privately. So
yeah,
I'll turn
that's
the
gonna
email
be
back to her.
really cool. I think something needs to come out of that. Like, that's gonna be fun to find out information. Please contact me uh, on my robertflorio.com, or also I have Facebook as Rob Florio. And I think my
Yeah, and
Instagram is Rob Florio 13. Um, so please, that would be
and
cool.
yeah, and me and Rob are friends on Facebook. So if anybody has trouble finding him or anything, yes, Rob Florio, Florio, right? So you spell your last
Yes,
name.
yes,
Awesome. Rob, Spooky Man, I'm so glad to have you on here. I know we've only gone an hour. Normally we at least go 2 hours with this. But Rob, I
Uh,
definitely, man, I'd love to have you on here a second time. I mean, me and you, we're friends personally, So, I'll be in contact with you. Thank you for everybody in the chat. Spooky, thank you for being here. I'm sorry I had to cut this short, but I totally forgot before we even started this that I do need to run to my sister's house for something very important. But Rob, man, dude, this is awesome, man. I can't wait to have you on here a second time, man. This is going great.
absolutely. Thank you, Rob.
oh, this was fun. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, and I know we kind of just scratched the surface with your experiences too, man. And like anybody in the chat that's
Yeah.
wondering, like Rob's sightings are legit. Like I said, I'll post some links to some of his videos and stuff later on. I've seen his videos myself. They're as legit as it gets. Definitely. But Spooky man, I'm glad you made it on here, Rob. I can't wait to see you again.
All right, Josh. Thank you, man.
All right. Love
All
you
right,
all.
take care,
Love you
everybody.
too, brother. Love everybody.
Bye.
Peace,
Bye.
everybody.